Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the 2U's podcast. This is TJ Masteller here with my friend Scott Ewing. Scott, say hello to everybody, my friend. It's been a while since we've been on.
We're back.
Ooh, I like that. That was, that sends a little chill through our audience, but don't be worried out there.
Goosebumps.
We are your friends. We are your friends. So here, again, people, we're here to talk about the Miami Heat. I mean, that's what everybody wants to talk about. It is NBA Finals time. All those haters out there, guess what? The Heatles made it. They're in the finals against Dirk and his boys, and the 2U's are here to break it all down for you. So, Scott, why don't we get your initial reaction to the Heatles making it this far, and let's talk some series.
Hate.
His drinking haterade.
Hate. If we step back from the player haters ball, thanks to Dave Chappelle.
Yes.
Miami, pretty strong, 12-3 record, getting to the NBA Finals. And I think this is where they were supposed to be when the mega powers joined up.
Yes.
And we all fanned up back in the summer of 2010.
Yeah, the NBA's version of the New World Order. New World Order for those Western fans. Order. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I mean, this is where they were supposed to be. And, and it's where all the pressure was built into this team getting there. And guess what, people? They're there now. So all those people that said it wasn't going to work, they can't coexist, well, I mean, what else do you want them to do? They're in the NBA Finals. They are going up against a true team in the Dallas Mavs. So, I mean, let's try to break this one down. I mean, you could look at the team offense of the Dallas Mavericks against the team defense of the Heat, but the 2U's, we're going to try to make this a little bit more simple than that. And Scott and I both believe, and Scott will elaborate on this first, this really boils down to Dirk versus LeBron. And what are your reaction to that comment, Scott?
Let me just first tell you that I did think Miami was going to make the finals this year. We didn't do an NBA preview, unfortunately, at the start of the season, which would have made our predictions look that much better.
Correct.
But with Miami being there, I thought it was going to be a team that was dressed in purple and gold that was going to be facing this team because I didn't think there was any chance anyone else was coming out of the West. Well, right. Guess what? Dallas swept the Lake Show out of town, 4-0, and then beat Oklahoma City in 5. So they're, 8-1, their last 9 games there. So when it comes down to it, Dallas, Miami, is it really two teams or is it LeBron James versus Dirk Nowitzki? The two best players on each team, they're going to square off, go one-on-one with each other. Maybe not. In the game situation, you might see LeBron step in there, guard Dirk a little bit because, like we said, we were talking earlier, we don't think there's a player that can step up one-on-one, man-to-man, and stop the unstoppable Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, especially when he's this hot. I mean, he's doing the basketball equivalent of what LeBron did the last couple seasons in Cleveland. He is the driving force to that team. Now, granted, Dallas has a lot more pieces around Dirk than LeBron ever had, but the carrying of the team and that onus of the ownership of this is our chance to do something that we haven't been able to do in the past is kind of the same. So I mean, we're looking at it as Dirk versus LeBron, and I mean, really, if you think about it, it is because I think the team that handles that player the best is probably going to win this series. We talked about unstoppable Dirk, but I mean, there's really no one on Miami that you're going to be able to throw at him consistently where he's not going to demand a double team and get it to those shooters for Dallas. And, I mean, there's really no one on, Dallas that's going to hold LeBron in check all series, and LeBron makes the players on the Heat better. So, I mean, it really is a great matchup. You got the two superstars, but in terms of just what kind of pressure has built on those two guys, Scott, who do you think has more pressure to win this series right now, Dirk or LeBron?
Well, this one's easy. For me, it is anyway.
Woo!
And we take all that haterade aside.
Hate.
Everyone who's talking about LeBron James, and I know Dirk is getting his fair share of media attention too, but everyone's talking about LeBron James. When's he going to win a ring? When's he going to join the elite group of NBA players of all time? But this series, there's more pressure on Dallas. We talked a little bit earlier about how the Mavericks, pretty much surprised everyone by being at this stage. Not that they weren't a playoff-ready team and a team that could go deep into the playoffs, but our playoff preview in the semifinal round, We had the Lakers. I had the Lakers winning in 5 games. I'm sure you had the Lakers winning in 6, something pretty similar like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Dallas was not supposed to be here. They're here now. There's more pressure on Dirk because even though they are here, their window is much smaller. The superpowers are all signed up. Miami's going to be in this exact same spot next year. Yep. They'll make the conference finals. They'll make the NBA finals most likely. And if they don't do it in 2012, they'll do it in 2013. If they don't do it then, they'll do it in 2014. And let's hope they don't go that long without getting a ring. Right. But short answer, the pressure is all on Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavericks here to deliver. He's been there more than 10 seasons. He's Mark Cuban's face of the franchise. But if they don't do it this year, Jason Terry's going to have to get that Larry O'Brien tattoo removed off his arm.
That would be terrible.
Because the Mavericks
wouldn't want that tattoo?
Probably are not going to get back here. With the Lakers not going to be staying down for 2 years, and the Oklahoma City Thunder on the rise, right. And not to mention any number of surprise teams in the West that could come out. So,
yep. It's definitely a lot deeper in the West. And you know what, Scott? That, ladies and gentlemen of the 2U's Nation, that is why I do business with Scott Ewing. Scott Ewing is absolutely right here. You're going to hear people on ESPN and other sports nation, whatever, mumbo-jumbo saying, oh, well, the pressure's all on LeBron and it's all on the Heat. No, it's not. They're ready to go. They're signed up and ready to do this, and they're going to be even better next year. This is Dallas's chance. This is therefore, all the pressure is on Dallas, and more so on their best player, Dirk, to come through on this. It's a deep Western Conference. This might be the last year the Dallas Mavericks make the NBA Finals. I will bet you right now that it is not the last year that the Miami Heat make the NBA Finals. And we've already seen LeBron and Wade and Bosh don't really care what you think, ESPN. They don't really care that you're critical of them or think they can't do something because guess what? They're going to do it, and they're proving that right now. In that light, they don't really care about your so-called pressure to win a title because they're going to keep coming back. Dallas does not have that in their back pocket. It's just you hit the nail on the head too. The Lakers aren't going to stay down. The Thunder aren't going to stay down. They're better teams than Dallas. Now, Dallas was a hotter team when they played them, and that's why they're in the spot. That makes this opportunity that much more important for Dallas, and I think it's a must-win for Dallas, an absolute must-win. Now, with that kind of pressure, Scott, who do you think has a bigger series, Dirk or LeBron? And that could be either numbers or just impact on the game overall.
Well, it's probably going to have to be the guy who needs to have a bigger game.
Right.
I've been going through the scenarios in my head and thinking to myself, what happens if LeBron goes ice cold or relatively, let's just say he goes pretty mediocre in this series. His numbers aren't that great or they're, pretty pedestrian compared to what he's done throughout the rest of the playoffs. He's not the defensive player of the year like he's been, in my mind.
3
anyway.
years now?
Yeah. And, let's just say he's pretty average and a guy like Dwayne Wade, who's been a Finals MVP, he takes over, or Chris Bosh really steps up, or right. Miami's bench, which is not favored over Dallas's bench, comes in and steals some games, and Miami still wins. I still think the talk is going to be about LeBron, about how he's got his ring, but he couldn't.
Right, what he did.
It's not his team. He didn't do anything for it, and those people fail to look at the past 3 series: Philadelphia, Boston, and Chicago, and just, completely forget that this guy is the best player in the NBA.
Yep. In the world. Yeah, he's the best player in the world. And
that being said, I'm sorry to sidestep your question, but I think Dirk's going to have a better series only because the pressure is going to be more on him. He's going to be probably forced to take more shots, and more shots in Dirk Nowitzki's hand is never really a bad thing, in my opinion. So,
correct.
The looks he's going to get, that's another story. Whether Miami gets him, open looks, or Dirk can dish the ball to somebody else who can hurt him from downtown, Peja, Jason Terry. If he gets the ball to Kidd, guys like that who can help Dallas out. But I think Dirk's numbers are going to be a little better than LeBron's in this case. Or, we may actually see LeBron have his best playoff series in the history of his career. And if that being the case, there's no way Dallas is victorious in this series. Right. And then I don't know what anyone will have left to say about LeBron James.
Nothing, hopefully, because anything that's been said is unwarranted. But I never seen a guy get criticized for taking less money to play with his friends, but that's another podcast for another day. Is it a cop-out to say they're both going to have equal impact? Because that's kind of how I look at it. They're both going to demand attention, and they're going to make teammates better. The way I see this coming down to, Scott, and we'll talk about this before we get to our predictions, which I know everybody wants to hear. It's going to come down, I think, to the bench. And I think it's going to be Dallas's bench. If Dallas's bench plays lights out, they could definitely win the series. Now, if Dirk's getting double-teamed and people running at him, and the knockdown shooters that they have on Dallas don't show up that way, it's Miami's series. Do you kind of agree with that sentiment?
I think Dallas is a lot deeper. I think their bench is better, and Miami is going to have to rely on their big three more than Dallas is going to have to rely on just Dirk to do it by himself, score 45, 50 points a night. Dallas could be the better team, but I think Miami, the talent with those big three, it's going to be really tough to slow them down. At the same time, I'm going to wonder how Miami's going to choose to play one-on-one against Dirk Nowitzki and how they're going to help him, whoever plays against him, with double teams and on pick and roll screens, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. I'm still just looking at this series from the outside and thinking Dirk versus LeBron these guys could not be more opposite of each other.
Correct.
In every facet, whether it comes down to race or whether it comes down to, character, flashy versus, humble, post-game interview stuff, endorsements, anything like that, everything, even the color of the jersey, the place where you were born, everything is the complete opposite, and that's what's just going to make this series so much fun to watch.
Yeah, certainly compelling. I mean, all right, we ran down the Dirk versus LeBron thing. Let's jump right into it. Who you got and why?
Oh, boy, tough one. And I don't think – the Lakers and Celtics have been great series, and I enjoyed watching it.
Don't cop out.
And Orlando let us down a little bit. But this one, I think, will go 6. We're not going to get the 7 games we traditionally get out of Boston and L.A. just about every other year.
Right.
I love Dirk. My heart is for the big German.
Quit picking with your heart, or else the San Jose Sharks
I like
would be in the
Dallas.
finals.
I like the Mavericks as a franchise. I like Mark Cuban, but the Miami Heat, the Three Kings, are going to win their first ring of many in 6 games. They're going to close the door on the American Airlines Arena in the 6th game in Dallas. Mark Cuban's heart is going to break because it's going to be it could get back next year, but I think it could be a long time before
it's never. Say it.
Mr. Cuban gets a Western Conference champion.
Just say it.
No, I will not say that. You can't make me say it.
I could make you do a lot of things.
Miami's going to win it
6.
And Dan Le Batard is going to freak out on the entire nation, and it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it should be pretty good. Hey, I got the Heat in 6 too, people. Get your New World Order shirts out because I think it's the Heat's time. I'm done picking with my head. It's time to pick with my gut. And my gut says go with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. And I just don't see how – I think LeBron is just going to press Dallas's defense in, and I think the team defense of the Heat beats up on the team offense mentality of the Mavericks. That Dallas bench is not going to be as good as it's been the last couple series, and that's going to end up being the difference. So get your New World Order stuff out. The Three Kings will reign supreme in the Miami Heat. And with that, we're going to close out another 2U's podcast. So, Scott, say goodbye to the viewing audience, and we will be back again soon, people.
Let's just remind everybody to check out our NBA section, our playoff section. We'll have a finals preview up. Should be within the next couple days. Also, check out my article I wrote in the You Know It's True section of the 2Us.com. The NBA Finals, what kind of person are you? Dirk versus LeBron. Good versus evil. Wow, it's going to be a great series.
It's going to be good, buddy. Let's enjoy it, and see you later, 2Us Nation. Good night.